Today, we are going to unpack one of the most incredible business stories of our time. We're going to dive into the systems, the strategies, and the relentless long-term thinking that let Amazon balloon from a garage startup into a force that, let's be honest, shapes our entire world. So it all boils down to this one huge question. You see, this didn't happen by accident, and it wasn't just about selling a few things online. This was a deliberate, step-by-step strategy, and it was all built on a foundation of what they call customer obsession. So, how on earth did they pull it off? We're going to break their whole playbook down into 4 key parts. First, we'll look at how they built that foundational retail machine. Then, how they managed to lock in customers with an ecosystem that's, almost impossible to leave. After that, we'll uncover the hidden profit engine that powers the whole company. And finally, we'll see how all of it came together to make Amazon feel less like a company and more like global infrastructure. Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. Before Amazon could dominate anything, it had to build a rock-solid foundation. And that foundation was a retail machine engineered for one thing and one thing only: massive, massive scale. This right here, this is basically the blueprint. See, Amazon didn't try to sell everything all at once. It started with one super focused category: books. Now, why books? Well, they were the perfect test subject. A standard product, easy to ship, with a huge existing catalog. And once they perfected that model, they just methodically expanded, moving into electronics, then fashion, then groceries, and all the essentials. Every single step was a deliberate building block, all leading to that ultimate vision: the everything store. Now this slide, this reveals the physical secret to their digital success. I mean, a huge selection is totally useless if you can't get it to people quickly and reliably, right? So Amazon just poured billions into a logistics network that competitors simply couldn't touch. We're talking massive warehouses and, the real key, they're advanced fulfillment centers. These are these highly automated hubs where your order gets picked, packed, and shipped out with unbelievable speed. This wasn't just about shipping things, it was about turning delivery time into a competitive weapon. And this just lays it all out so clearly. While their competitors were stuck with smaller selections and slower shipping, Amazon created this devastatingly simple value proposition. Get basically anything you want, get it super fast, and get it for a low price. That 3-part formula created a competitive advantage that was, and still is, incredibly hard to beat. So once Amazon had the customers, the next big strategic question was, how do you keep them? And this wasn't just about good service. This was about building a system so valuable that leaving it would actually feel like a downgrade. And that brings us to the next phase of their strategy, the Prime ecosystem. This is such a critical concept to understand. An ecosystem isn't just one product, no. It's a whole web of services that all reinforce each other. The goal is to make the total package so convenient and so valuable that you, the customer, have absolutely no reason to even look anywhere else. It creates what business strategists call stickiness. And here's what that web actually looks like. You know, Amazon Prime started with just one simple promise: fast, free delivery. But then they started methodically bundling in more and more value. First came content, video and music streaming. Then came other benefits like exclusive deals. Each new layer they added just made the subscription more essential and way harder to give up, turning people who were just casual shoppers into hardcore loyalists. And running underneath this entire ecosystem, you've got data. Tons and tons of data. Every click you make, every purchase, every show you watch, it all feeds Amazon's algorithms. This creates this incredibly powerful feedback loop. They use all that data to understand our behavior, which then lets them perfect their recommendations and streamline their logistics, which in turn makes the whole ecosystem even stronger. All right, now we get to the part of the story that most people just don't see. While the retail store and Prime are the faces of Amazon that we all know, the company's real power and a massive chunk of its profit, it comes from somewhere else entirely. It comes from the cloud. That's right. The true engine behind Amazon's financial dominance is totally invisible to most of us. It's a business that actually grew out of their own internal need to manage this colossal computing infrastructure. They built it for themselves, and then they had a light bulb moment and turned it into a service for other companies. It's called cloud computing, and it's essentially them renting out their powerful servers and data centers, and it ended up changing the entire internet. Now take a good look at this. This is Amazon Web Services, or AWS. And sure, as you can see, retail brings in the lion's share of revenue. But that's not the real story. The story is profit. AWS, even with a smaller share of total sales, is an absolute profit machine. It powers huge chunks of the internet. We're talking everything from Netflix to NASA. And it generates the cash that funds Amazon's other ambitious and often very low-margin projects. So the key takeaway is this: AWS is the financial engine that fuels the entire Amazon empire. So what happens when you combine a totally dominant retail machine, a super sticky customer ecosystem, and a massively profitable cloud business? Well, you stop being just a company. You become the infrastructure that other businesses and our daily lives actually depend on. And this is the result of that combination. Amazon didn't just compete in markets, it fundamentally changed them. It completely reshaped the rules of retail. It came to dominate the new frontier of cloud computing. And through Prime Video, it became a major player in entertainment. It would enter an industry and just rewrite the playbook for everyone else. This timeline really sums up the whole journey perfectly. It was a logical 4-phase mission. First, conquer the world of retail by building that everything store. Second, create unwavering loyalty with the Prime ecosystem. Third, build the financial engine with AWS. And that final phase, it's all of these systems working together to integrate Amazon into the very fabric of our daily lives. And that is the ultimate outcome. I mean, from the servers that host our favorite websites to the box that shows up on our doorstep, Amazon has morphed into something more like a utility, a fundamental piece of modern infrastructure that millions of us interact with every single day, a lot of the time without even realizing it. And this quote just captures the essence of it all. This wasn't one lucky break or a single brilliant idea. It was a slow, methodical, relentless process of building one system on top of another, piece by piece, until the final structure was so vast and so integrated that it just became unavoidable. And that leaves us with a pretty big thought. What does it really mean when a single company doesn't just participate in the economy, but becomes the system itself?
This is CorpFile, inside the world of big brands. Subscribe to explore the real stories behind the companies that shape our world.